let's talk about Psalm 44. And I'm going to call this, this is just my term, the Psalm of Defeat. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt defeat? Have you ever come to a moment in life where you felt like God had helped you in the past, but He's not helping you now? What happened? You really needed Him to come through. You really expected the victory. You expected triumph, but something fell apart. Well, that's happened to me plenty of times in my life. In fact, about any good dream or good desire that I have in my life, anymore, I hold it very loosely. I say, Lord, if you've given me this desire, and if this is your will, then I want this. And if this is not your will, then I do not want this. I want your will. And that way, when I'm pursuing what looks like an open door or what looks like an opportunity, I pursue it loosely. I hold it loosely. I'll tell you something else I hold loosely, the outcomes. Sometimes the Lord leads us into an opportunity, but the outcome isn't what we expected. And then we're really flummoxed. We're really left floundering, wondering, whoa, I thought I was following God, but this fell apart. This failed. I was defeated in this when I expected God to bring triumph or victory or some great flourishing blessing. Now, He is the God of flourishing blessings. We've seen that very clearly multiple times, but especially in this last Psalm, Psalm 107. But sometimes His flourishing is preceded by defeat. Sometimes His blessings are preceded by hardness. I was interviewing a young couple this past week for employment in our school, potentially a new science teacher, and a fine young couple from Pensacola Christian College, science teacher, and his wife that is studying language and writing and English, and I see a wonderful role taking shape for them in our school and church. But I sat with them and I said, do you believe God is leading you here? Do you want to join our team? Of course, I don't want to hire somebody that is just taking a job. This is a ministry, and I want somebody that's passionate for it and has a desire. Of course, they smiled and said, yes, we really want to be here. And I said, well, let me tell you why I'm asking you that, because you start out in something good for God, and usually it gets harder before it gets better. Usually it's like a J curve. That's what the business world calls this. You start here and you start on a good endeavor and you end up in a dip of hardship, difficulty. It's harder than you thought. It's tougher than you thought. Maybe there's some losses involved, but then you eventually survive the losses and you come out and you experience the harvest, the flourishing, the fruitfulness. Well, the reason I'm bringing all that up is that Psalm 44 is a psalm of defeat. It's a psalm of grieving loss, grieving defeat. The song basically leads people into rehearsing past victories in light of present defeat, and present defeat in light of future help, and in light of the fact that God is still God, and we still trust Him even in defeat. That we don't give up on God simply because He didn't produce the outcomes that we want. Now, how many people do we know in our lives that have given up on God because He wasn't really God to them? He was just a map, a road map, or He was simply a tool to get where they wanted to go or to produce the outcome they wanted to produce. He was a concierge or a good luck charm. He was a force to leverage. If God is really God, then I'm going to trust Him in the desire, I'm going to trust Him in the pursuit, and I'm going to trust Him in the outcome, whatever the outcome is. And I'm going to know that even in temporary defeat, I am going to ultimately be the victor at some point in some way. He's going to bring me out. So I'm never going to give up on God. Never going to give up on God, regardless of the outcomes that He brings, regardless of when things go in a way that I don't understand. So with that context, let's read the Psalm of ancient Hebrews who experienced previous victories but are floundering in present defeat. What happens to their faith? So, the Psalm reads this way: We have heard with our ears, O God, our fathers have told us what work Thou didst in their days, in the times of old. How Thou didst drive out the heathen with Thy hand and plantest them, how thou didst afflict the people and cast them out. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but by thy right hand and thine arm, and the light of thy countenance, because thou hast favor unto them. Thou art my king, O God. Command deliverances for Jacob. Through thee we will push down our enemies. Through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies, and hast put them to shame that hated us. In God we boast all the day long, and praise thy name forever. Selah. So the Selah is a kind of a change in rhythm, maybe a change in keys and a rest in the song. And now the song turns a different direction. But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goest not forth with our armies. Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and scattered us among the heathen. Thou sellest thy people for naught, dost not increase thy wealth at their price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face has covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and avenger. Now the song turns again. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee. Neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons, and covered us with the shadow of death, if we have forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for thy mercy's sake. I don't know if you're catching this already, but this is going to be another exceptional study. What a great read. What a great psalm. What an amazing journey. We've heard the stories, God, but we're not experiencing them. But we're not going to go anywhere. We don't understand what you're doing. Seems like you're asleep. But we're going to wait on you to wake up and arise and save us for your mercy's sake. Well, my friend, we'll stop there for today. Thanks for joining me. Happy Tuesday. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.